Hello, and welcome to the 38th Annual Multi-Faith Thanksgiving Service. My name is Natalie McLaughlin, and on behalf of all the faiths represented in this broadcast, we're glad you've joined us. While this, like many other experiences during the pandemic, will be different than the large celebration we've grown accustomed to over the last 3 decades, the same spirit of unity and community prevails. We invite you to enjoy the offerings of members from the Jewish, Islamic, Buddhist, Hindu, Latter-day Saint, and Methodist traditions. But first, a message from Boise Mayor Lauren Mclean.
Welcome everyone and happy Thanksgiving. It's really great to know that there are 5 faiths that have gathered together today to celebrate this special holiday. The fact that we all come together across faiths shows how important it is in our community that we accept each other and that we build community and find agreement despite differences. And so I really appreciate that today, as part of this celebration, each of your faith organizations has come together to demonstrate what it truly means to be a city and, importantly, a community for everyone. Thanksgiving is a really important time to reflect on how the fact that we are here was made possible by the kindness of others, those who came before us here in Boise, but most importantly, those who lived here for so long before Westerners arrived at and found and then founded this country. So as for Thanksgiving, we often talk at my home about that story and the first years of Western settlers in our country, the celebration made possible by the kindness of those who lived here first, the willingness of people that were so different to come together and celebrate the fact that they all shared something in common, and that was a love of the place in which they lived and a gratitude for their health and for the harvest that came from the place that they loved. And finally, I just want to say, when I think about Thanksgiving, and our family comes together for Thanksgiving traditionally with friends, although this year will be different, and we all talk about what it is we're grateful for. And this year in particular, I'm grateful for the health that our family has, the heart that this community has shown, and the promise and hope that we all have when we think about what our life will look like when we're able to come back together in community. And then finally, I'm incredibly grateful for the community and acceptance that my husband and I felt in our early 20s when we found this place that we wanted to make a home. Much the same story that so many people have in this community, the Boise story. And our gratitude extends deeply to each of you that's made this place a home, to everyone that has really come together in new ways this year as we battle a virus, the economic impacts because of it, and start to envision what it looks like to be resilient together in a community for everyone. So again, once more, thanks for getting together across faiths to celebrate this very special day, and happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Thank you, Mayor Mclean, for the warm welcome. Our first piece is offered by our friends from the Ahavath Beth Israel Choir. Please enjoy as they sing a song called Gesher.
כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר צר, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר צר, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר והעיקר, והעיקר לא לפחד כלל, לא לפחד והעיקר לא לפחד, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר צר, כל העולם כולו Gesher, V'harikar, V'harikar, Lo Lefached Klam, Lo Lefached, 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 Lo Lefached Klam.
Thank you for that beautiful message and music. Next, our friend Anadi Radha Delphs from the Hare Krishna Temple here in Boise will read to us the Prayer of Unity, sometimes referred to as the Prayer for Protection, written by James Dillett Freeman. This prayer was the inspiration for tonight's multi-faith experience.
Hare Krishna. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Now, this is certainly how the faithful pray. The poem is a description of God's mercy, and God's mercy is like rain. When rain pours down, it doesn't discriminate in its distribution. One could even say that it is impartial and thus equally magnanimous. Sometimes rain will pour on a rock where nothing will grow from it. Sometimes rain will pour on the ocean, which has no need for water. And other times rain will pour on fertile ground, which then produces a variety of useful vegetation like fruits and flowers for all the living beings on the earth. Similarly, God rains down his mercy in various ways on the entire creation. Yet depending on the heart of the individual, God's mercy is properly appreciated and utilized, like the water on fertile ground, or unappreciated and wasted as water on the rock. So God, or Krishna, is not partial in treating the different living entities. It is up to the individual to take proper advantage of the gifts of God. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, says in his Bhagavad Gita that I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, and I am also a friend to him. In the Mahabharata war, the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. The Bhagavad Gita is unique in that it was spoken personally by the Supreme Absolute Truth, Sri Krishna, to his friend and disciple, Arjuna. His purpose was to rid the fears and the doubts that arose in the heart of Arjuna as he was facing his family on the other side. Lord Krishna says that you are not the body, Arjuna. You are the soul. So be a true yogi. A true yogi is someone who focuses on God and the service of God. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And to show mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. The Lord desired that Arjuna would receive these teachings, receive the rain, receive this mercy into the heart. And then through Arjuna, the whole world would hear of these instructions and be benefited. This was the Lord's mercy. So to serve God, Arjuna continued the war and fought. Now, with all this considered, in spite of facing the most dangerous of situations like Arjuna did, or the most troublesome of times, one can become peaceful and determined as Arjuna by knowing of God and receiving his mercy. So build a garden in your heart with that fertile soil and let the rains pour in. Welcome the mercy of the Lord because it's everywhere, as mentioned in this poem. Let the mercy nourish that seed of love lying in the heart so it can blossom in time. Lord Krishna says in the Shikshastakam prayers, Nam namakari bahuta nija sarva shaktis tatrartita namaita smarane nakalaha itadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva medisha iha janina nuragaha. That the Lord has invested all of his energies into his names. And as Jesus said, hallowed be thy name. The name of God is so glorious. So please, join us for chanting the names of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Anadi. Now, Dharmacharya Michelle Tay from the Plum Village tradition of engaged Buddhism will invite us into a moment of peace and unity with a meditation.
Listen, listen. The sound of this bell invites us to wake up. The bell calls us home to the present moment, mindful of our bodies, our breath, and each other. We live in a time that is challenging, filled with heartbreak and fear. We see hardship and we see kindness, generosity, and love. I invite you to appreciate how interconnected we are with each other and with our community and with the rest of the world. Our thoughts and certainly our prayers hold us together as a human family. As individuals, we draw strength and resilience from our community. We become better able to stay awake and not to lose heart. It is within the capacity of all of us to be compassionate, everyone, and we are grateful. Once again, we listen to the sound of the bell, the voice of awakening. May it be heard far and wide, and may it bring peace and thanksgiving.
Thank you, Michelle, for that meaningful and calm reminder. And now the Cathedral of the Rockies Handbell Choir presents You Are My All in All, arranged by Patricia Coda. The song is intended to remind us of God's power. Thanks, Steve and the Bell Choir. Next, Deborah Mesmerian from the Imam Al-Mahdi Islamic Center takes a closer look at the part of the prayer for unity that speaks to God's nearness wherever we are.
May God's peace and blessings be upon you as we gather this special evening, this special gathering, this interfaith gathering. It's like a huge potluck, a potluck of faith, where we all come together and each of us brings a little bit of our faith to the table to share with everybody else. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about wherever we are, God is. Now, if we want to research something in Islam, we have two important sources to look to. One source is the Holy Quran, and we believe that the Holy Quran was actually really revealed to our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And actually, this means that the Holy Quran, the author of the Holy Quran, is God. So in the Holy Quran, God talks about his own attributes. And some of these attributes point to this idea that wherever we are, God is. And I looked through the list of the 99 names of God, the famous 99 names of God. And some of these they're so beautiful. Some of them are the all-seeing, the all-knowing, the all-aware, the watcher of everything, the ever-witnessing, the overseer, the all-hearing, the all-encompassing, the boundless, the knower of the hidden. All of these names point to this idea that wherever we are, God is. Another source that we can look to when we want to do research in Islam are collections of narrations. One famous collection is by Muslim or Sahih Bukhari. These are some famous men that collected that they just went around and collected narrations, quotations, short stories of the Prophet and how he lived and what he said and what he did. And I have one short story that was narrated by a man named Abu Musa. Abu Musa said, "We were with the Prophet on a journey, and whenever we ascended a high place, we used to say, 'God is great.' The Prophet said, 'Don't trouble yourself too much. You are not calling on a deaf or an absent person, but you are calling on one who hears, sees, and is very near.'" This is a beautiful short story that again points to this idea that God is everywhere. Wherever we are, God is. Another short story, this one's very nice. It's about the Prophet again. One day the Prophet was on a journey and he was very tired. So he sat down under a tree to rest. A bad man, seeing that the Holy Prophet was alone, thought it was a good time to kill him quickly and quietly. He went towards the Holy Prophet with his sword out in front of him. He asked the Holy Prophet, "Tell me, who can help you now?" "God," answered the Holy Prophet calmly. When the bad man saw how calm and sure the Holy Prophet was that God would help him, he became frightened, and the sword fell from his hand. The Prophet picked up the sword and asked, "Now, you tell me, who is there to save you?" "No one," answered the man. "No, you are wrong. The same God will help you also." And he let the man go. When the man heard this, he actually became a Muslim. So this is another story, another narration that points to this idea that wherever we are, God is. Now, if we look to the Holy Quran, chapter 67, verse 13, it says, "Verily, those who fear their Lord in secret, for them is a forgiveness and a great reward." This remembrance of God, when someone is alone represents a magnificent level of faith. For a believer to do good deeds and abstain from doing sins when they are alone means that he or she believes that wherever we are, God is. And I'd like to end this with a beautiful sentence from the end of the daily prayer. Muslims, we pray 5 prayers a day, you've probably heard. And towards the end of the prayer, we say, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. What does this mean? This means, may God's peace be upon us and on all the righteous servants of God. Good evening.
Thank you, Deborah, for your reflection on the nearness of the all-encompassing God. Our last piece comes to us from the Latter-day Saints tradition. Vocalist Jessica Frew is accompanied by Kathy Clark. Please enjoy as they offer up the song Where Love Is by Joanne Bushman Doxey.
In the Bible, we are taught that where God is, love is also. And for me, that is when I feel God closest, and when I know He is with me is when I feel loved. And so that is why I chose this song to share with you today. Where love is, there God is also. Where love is, we want to be. Guide us His truths to follow. Help us obey Him faithfully. Where love is, there God is also. We think of Him reverently. Teach us to pray, to walk with Him above, and know that He will guide us with His love. The comfort of loving arms around us, a song that makes us want to sing. The happiness we feel when love has found us. 'Tis love we get when love we bring. Where love is, there God is also. And with Him we want to be. Show us the way and guide us tenderly, that we may dwell with Him eternally.
Thank you for joining us and sharing the many ways that we celebrate our faith. In moments like this, we get the opportunity to come closer as a community, even when many of us are feeling more distant than ever. We're in a season of Thanksgiving, and we celebrate the things that we are thankful for. And one of the ways that we can give thanks is by helping some of the most vulnerable in our community. The Interfaith Sanctuary is an organization here in Boise who work year-round to do just that. We're inviting you to give the gift of shelter and support the Interfaith Sanctuary. Please consider giving as you are able at the link on the screen. Thank you for your generosity.
'Tis love we get when love we bring. We hope you felt the love that brought these communities together to celebrate unity once more. Thank you, Jessica and Kathy. And thanks again, Mayor Mclean, Anadi Radha Delphs, the Ahavath Beth Israel Choir, Michelle Tay, Deborah Mesmerian, the Cathedral of the Rockies Bell Choir, and all the organizers of this event. Before we leave you to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday, hear once again these words from the Prayer for Unity. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. May all be well with you and yours. Thank you for joining us, and have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving.